Today we're going to visit two wonderful gardens built by Lawrence Johnston, the world famous Cotswolds garden of Hidcote Manor in Gloucestershire, and Johnston's less well known garden Serre de la Madone in Menton on the Côte d'Azur in the south of France. What you are looking at there is Hidcote, and here is Serre de la Madone with a great wonderful clump of Strelitzia. But let's start at Hidcote. This is the entrance to Hidcote. The garden was built around a 17th century manor house. If you go there in May, you're going to see this wonderful, superb stone wall covered with clematis. It's really gorgeous. The garden is located in the village of Hidcote Bartram near Chipping Campden in Gloucestershire. Today it's considered one of the best examples of an arts and crafts garden in Britain. It has lots of rare trees, shrubs, as well as attractive topiary and beautifully planted flower borders. Now when you get inside, you'll find the garden has been divided up into small room-like spaces. Hidcote is famous for its garden rooms. This style of design Johnston liked and pioneered. He was strongly influenced by Gertrude Jekyll. Here you see a lovely white tulip garden near the house. The style of this garden at Hidcote had a huge influence on Vida Sackville-West and Harold Nicolson in the way they designed and developed Sissinghurst by creating lots of room-like spaces. The garden rooms at Hidcote are mostly defined by neatly clipped hedges of box, hornbeam and yew. There are also some excellent examples of pleaching, which is a way of creating a hedge on stilts. Anyway, I think it would be helpful if I told you a little bit about Johnston himself. He was born in Paris in 1871 to wealthy American parents. When his father died, his mother Gertrude remarried and settled in Britain in 1900. In 1907, Johnston's mother bought the 300-acre Hidcote Manor estate. The property had already strong connection with the evolving arts and crafts movement, which was focused on getting back to the elegant, simplified forms and patterns found in nature. Anyway, by 1910, Johnston had started to turn more and more of the fields around the house at Hidcote into garden. And by the 1920s, he had almost 12 gardeners working full-time on the project. Now, during the First World War, he was injured, it's an interesting story, and left for dead on the battlefield. Fortunately, he was recognised by a friend who rescued him and pulled his body from the corpses. If that hadn't happened, of course, we wouldn't have these wonderful gardens to enjoy today. After the war, Johnston turned Hidcote over to the National Trust in 1947. Then he spent the rest of his time working in France on Serre de la Madone. Hidcote has a lot of garden rooms, 30 individually named areas like Rose Walk, Theatre Lawn, Beach Alley. The one you're looking at there is Mrs. Winthrop's garden. This is the Circle, where they use a lot of lilacs, and this is a little bench at the end of the Rose Walk. There's also a red border where the plants have very hot, warm flowers, you know, and there's a kitchen garden, a fuchsia garden. Anyway, one of the best features in the garden is this pleached alley of hornbeams. It's called the Stilt Garden, obviously because the thing looks like a hedge on stilts. And there is another lovely feature that I like called the Long Walk. It's a long stretch of lawn lined by hedging. Here it is. It's really gorgeous. And at the end there's a gate open, of course. Hidcote likes to leave its gates open. It's one way of including the countryside in and making the best use of borrowed landscaping. Now when I was at Hidcote, I fell in love with a lot of the plants. The planting is superb, but there was one that caught my eye. I didn't know it before. It's this one called Asphodeline lutea. It's native to Southeast Europe, Turkey, hardy to about zone 7, has attractive yellow flowers and bluish grey, green strap-like foliage. I thought it was very great. As I was leaving the garden, I spotted this lovely pocket handkerchief tree with its lovely white floppy bracts. Beautiful. Now let's skip over to the south of France and visit Johnston's other magnificent garden, Serre de la Madone in Menton. This is a garden that covers 6 hectares on a hillside in Menton in the south of France. The name, by the way, means Hill of the Madonna. When you walk in there, you find these wonderful clumps of Strelitzia, absolutely gorgeous. This is a garden where Johnston got to grow all the things he loved, all the tender things that he couldn't grow at Hidcote. such as the strelitzias. Johnston worked in the garden between 1924 and 1939, during which time he also travelled the world collecting plants. He was a great plant collector, and at one point he had almost 20 gardeners working on the project. This garden is an impressive work of extraordinary passion, intelligence and sophistication. Johnston started by creating a series of terraces among the old olive trees. Paths take you up the garden through a series of terraces through groves of palms and bamboo, cycads, agave, cactus and succulents. In one spot you'll see these 2 Hong Kong orchid trees, both in full bloom when I was there. As you walk up through the garden, through the different terraces, you'll see these shallow little ponds on one side, and you see great banks of Watsonia around you. The garden is also a popular place to hold artistic performances and events. And when I was there, there was this dancer giving a performance to local school children. It was very impressive. It's nice to see the garden used that way. At the top of the garden, next to the house, there's a belvedere where on the floor, written in French, are the words, "My heart beats quickly every time I come here to meet my love." Very pretty. Johnston died of lung cancer in 1958 at the age of 86. And in 1999 the property was purchased by a non-profit organisation that has been working to restore the garden to its former glory. Well, I hope you enjoyed your time today visiting these 2 lovely gardens, and I hope you'll come back again to join me on more garden visits.